Good morning, guys. Okay, so this is today's introduction paragraph writing video. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, you should have done your writing assignment within the news ELA prompt. Your body paragraphs is what those were. Okay, so the first story that you read, which was about the the high school here in Fresno that is creating 3D masks, that was your first article. So whatever you wrote as your writing response is one of your paragraphs in your five paragraph essay. It's your first body paragraph. Okay, the next story, the was about kindness. According to experts, kindness is a way to overcome the difficulties of COVID-19. And then the final article from yesterday was families around the world are in shelter in place together and are finding fun ways to overcome the boredom, which is a major difficulty in facing the coronavirus as well. So those were your three main body paragraphs. So now that you're done with those, this part is actually easy. We just need to come up with an introduction paragraph that ties them together and a conclusion. And we'll do that tomorrow, the conclusion. We're just going to focus on the introduction paragraph. So if you see right here on my screen, this is your whole essay structure, and this is in your packet or online. You can read through it. The main body paragraph 1, 2, and 3, the conclusion, but we are focusing right here on the introduction. Okay. Now, the great thing about this writing assignment is we have given you exactly word for word pretty much your thesis statement, which is your third sentence in that introduction paragraph. Okay. And it says, state the difficulties and include a claim statement or thesis. And I already have that written down for you. It's in your packet, it's online. That proves yes or no, Americans have found ways to overcome the difficulties of the coronavirus. So that's what our whole entire essay is about, okay? Americans, yes, have overcome the difficulties that come up with coronavirus, or no, they have not found any ways to deal with it, okay? So let me scroll back up here. So this is our entire assignment, the sixth grade argumentative essay. After reading the three articles listed below, you will write a claim statement answering the opinion prompt. Okay, that's what this is. This is your opinion, but it's not a I think, I believe. You're going to be very forceful. You're going to argue for your case. Okay, so you just state facts and you state your argument as a fact. Okay, you are convincing everyone. It's not, well, this is what I think. This is my opinion. That's not what you write. So right here, it says opinion prompt. Have Americans found ways to overcome the difficulties of the coronavirus? That's the entire essay. That's what it's about. So right here, it says use the prompt to create the claim or statement, thesis statement. That is your final sentence in your introduction. Okay, so we're going to write it right here. Let's start writing this out. Introduction paragraph. Okay. And we're going to leave a blank spot for the first one because we have not done that. That's the first sentence in your introduction paragraph. We are going to leave the second sentence blank because we're not there yet. We're just filling in this pre-created third thesis statement. So this is our third sentence. And you can have more than 3 sentences in your introduction. You can have 4, you can have 5. But we're just going to focus on the basics for this. So we're just going to do 3. Okay. So on our screen here, this is our third sentence, the thesis. It says Americans. So this will be your sentence. Okay. Americans have found ways or if you are arguing that no, they have not found ways. Okay. I think it would be kind of tough to argue that they have not found ways and using these articles because the 3 articles that we read about, weren't they basically about cool things that people are doing to help overcome the virus? So I don't know that you could argue no. You could try, and you could try to find your proof that way. But I'm going to go with what it says here. Americans have found ways to overcome the difficulties of the coronavirus by, and then you see right here on our screen, it has blank spot here 1, blank spot here 2, and blank spot 3. So this is where you will fill in the information from your body paragraphs. Okay, so I just kind of wrote a quick sketch of my answers for the body paragraphs. So for the first one, I put a technical high school in Fresno, California has come up with a unique way to overcome one of the difficulties in facing the coronavirus, which is using 3D printers to create face masks. So on our thesis statement, you would say Americans have found ways to overcome the difficulties of the coronavirus by, I would say, creating masks with 3D printers. Okay, because isn't that what they did in the first article? That was the way that they overcame it. And that's all you're listing here is your 3 ways that they overcame the difficulties. You are not going into depth. You are not explaining. You're just stating them because you will use your body paragraphs to explain each one of these ways. Okay, and in the second article, which was about kindness, they're saying that it was one way to overcome the difficulties. So Americans have found ways to overcome the difficulty of the coronavirus by creating masks with 3D printers, using kindness. And what did it say about kindness in that article? It said that it can, social interactions and being kind with people can actually help your health, remember, and keep you healthier and help fight the coronavirus. So using kindness to battle health concerns, or you could even say something like using kindness to help keep the coronavirus at bay, or using kindness to fight against the bad health effects of coronavirus. You could say something like that for number 2 that you would fill in, and then comma, and then and then your last part of this will be the third article. And the third article, I put families around the world are in shelter in place together and are finding fun ways to keep from being bored during the difficulty of staying home during this pandemic. So once again, we're going to read the whole thing. Americans have found ways to overcome the difficulty of the coronavirus by creating masks with 3D printers, using kindness to battle health concerns, and finding fun, fun new ways, right? Because people are doing new things, new ways to keep families, what would you say? All those fun things. You kind of keep you entertained, right? To keep families entertained at home. Entertained at home. Okay, so do you see how I took my personal 3 topic sentences of my main body paragraphs and I put them into my thesis statement? That put them into sentence number 3. Okay, this is the final sentence of my introduction paragraph. Okay, so just use this template. Start right here. This is sentence 3. Americans have found ways. Okay, and we can all have the same thesis statement template, but you will fill in your own words what your 3 reasons were, what your 3 ways of overcoming this difficulty was. Okay, so see, and my strong thesis statement was Americans have found ways. Okay, all right, so that's your last sentence. Let's go down and work on our first 2 sentences. Okay, and we're going to scroll down right here. Okay, this is also in your packet and it's also online. This is your outline for the argumentative essay, and this was our question again: have Americans found ways to overcome them? So this is our introduction, and like I said, 3 sentences. Okay, the first sentence is your hook. Okay, it's what makes people want to even read what you've written, something that makes them go, oh, this sounds interesting, I'm going to read this. That's sentence 1, your hook. Sentence 2 is state some of the difficulties during the coronavirus. Now, do you want to state them all? No, just wants to be one concise, clear sentence. Okay, and then the number 3 sentence, which we just did, is your thesis statement, which is this right here. And we just did that. And if you haven't filled yours in yet, this is your frame that you can use. Okay, so let's think about it. A hook for this. I don't even know that we really need to really think about anything that interesting, because the coronavirus is huge. It's a pandemic. It's very interesting, and everybody wants to read about it. But in thinking about our paragraphs or our articles that we read, we might want to try to talk about some of the things that they did. So something that's really interesting is our nation has basically been asked, or the world has basically been asked, to stay home. And only one time in American history has this ever happened before. And hopefully you guys can think of the other time that this happened before, where people had to quarantine themselves or stay at home and stay away from each other in our history. So if I was writing this, I would put something like, there has only been one, I better write the word out, one. I don't like numbers in my writing in my paragraph. One other time in history where the world has been told to stay home, not work, and avoid others. Okay, that's kind of an interesting fact, don't you think, that there's only been one other time in our history that they've come out and said, stay home, don't go to work, don't go, that's really interesting. That's a major thing in world history. That's a major thing in our lives. You see how huge this is. So I would say that's definitely a hook, that there's only been one other time in history where people have been stayed home. And that was actually in 1918. So it was 102 years ago? Crazy, huh? Okay, so my first sentence, the hook. There has been only one other time in history where the world has been told to stay home, not work, and avoid others. And I'm going to even add to it, and that was over 100 years ago. Over 100 years ago. Okay, now your hook can be something else. Okay, your hook can be something like the out of nowhere, the coronavirus has erupted into our world and taken over our lives, making it very difficult, something like that. And that would be interesting. A coronavirus takes over everybody's lives. That's kind of a hook. But like I said, this is an easy topic. anything basically that you say about the coronavirus kind of hooks people in and they want to read more. Okay, so that would be your first sentence. This is just an example over 100 years ago of a hook sentence that you could use. Okay, but you can make your own up. Just make it interesting. Make it. Don't just put the coronavirus is an illness. Okay, that's boring. That doesn't make people want to read anything else. So just kind of work on that. If you need help with that, you can message me and I will help you a little bit more. Okay, so we're done with sentence 1. We're basically done with sentence 3. All we have left is sentence 2. Look at this, easy. So sentence 2 says, state the difficulties during the coronavirus. Now, are you going to state every single difficulty that's arisen? No, we just want one good sentence, okay? So we don't have to list every single problem people are facing. But we kind of want to focus on what our articles said, okay? We don't want to go off on some weird tangent and talk about how people are having difficulty breathing because of the coronavirus, because it didn't really talk about that in our articles. It talked about the face masks. It talked about how kindness can help our health. And it talked about how families are doing fun things to keep each other from going bored and going crazy and killing each other, not really killing each other, but you know what I mean. So for number 2, state the difficulties during the coronavirus. So you could say something like this: the coronavirus, or you could say COVID-19, the coronavirus is causing difficulties in our everyday lives, right? Because it's disrupted everything in our everyday lives. Let's see. In our everyday lives, like, let's not say like. I don't like. I mean, I like. Let's say such as. Okay, the coronavirus is causing difficulties in our everyday lives, such as having to keep our faces covered, right? Having to keep your face covered, or you could say having to keep a mask on, something like that. I'm just going to say having to keep your face covered, because that was what the first article basically talked about, masks. And the reason that we need those masks is we have to keep our face covered to keep other people from getting sick. But you don't want to go into all that detail. You just want to state it, just clear. So the coronavirus is causing difficulties in our everyday lives, such as having to keep your face covered. The next paragraph had talked about kindness and illness and how it can help. So our second sentence, once again, says coronavirus is causing difficulties in our everyday lives, such as having to keep your face covered, dealing with okay, so the coronavirus is making us do what? It's making us have to stay home and away from others, right? And the second paragraph was about how kindness can help people that are isolated and alone. So you would say the coronavirus is causing difficulties in our everyday lives, such as having to keep your face covered, dealing with loneliness and isolation, okay? Because that talked about what our second article talked about. And we can really expand on those in our body paragraphs, because it's still referencing, in a way, those paragraphs, right? And then the final thing is families around the world or in shelter-in-place are finding fun new ways to keep from being bored. So once again, sentence 2. The coronavirus is causing difficulties in our everyday lives, such as having to keep your face covered, dealing with loneliness and isolation, and what would the final thing be? What would you say that whole last article would be about? Talks about families doing fun things at home. So dealing with loneliness and isolation, and coming up with ways, okay, coming up with ways to have fun at home, okay? Have fun at home. Okay, so do you see how that listed, sentence number 2 just listed 3 of the difficulties that we'll be talking about through our article paragraphs, our main body paragraphs. It kind of ties everything all in together and gives you a good, clear, concise framework to work with so you don't go too far off topic. Okay, it's easy to start talking about some other weird stuff that you know about, that you heard on TV, that you read about. But we want to stay focused on the text for our essay. Okay, so once again, this is our entire introduction paragraph. I am going to put it, see, right there. I'm going to leave it up there for a minute. Hopefully you can read my writing. If you can't, message me and I'll help you. Now, yours doesn't have to be exactly this way. This was just one idea, but hopefully I gave you a framework or an example to look at that you can go back in and tweak your own and make it yours. Okay. All right. Oh, I erased that bottom part of that. Oops. Well, you already had it from earlier. Anyway, so this is your introduction paragraph. The way that we did it and pulled information from our body paragraphs and used this thesis statement, make sure that our essay will be cohesive and on topic and effective. Okay, so I hope this helped, guys. Like I said, text me or email me if you have any questions or if I can help you a little bit with your hook. Okay, have a great day. Talk to you soon.